Today we're going to make the most delicious pumpkin, hazelnut, feta and sage galette, which is basically a kind of a rough tart, which you make with shop-bought puff pastry. It's butter-based, which is always better. It comes in sheets, well, it comes in a block as well, but I like the sheets because it rolls out really easy. So I'm going to take that off and pop it on a baking tray. Side, and then spread it out, and then I'll come back to that in a second when we've got all the filling. Now, in the oven, I've got pumpkin roasting. So I've peeled the pumpkin, I've chopped it up into small little pieces, and I've roasted for about 20 minutes. You want to pre-roast it because otherwise it won't be done in time when it goes on top of the pastry. So pop that to the side. The other thing here I've got is gorgeous feta. I've crumbled it all up. You could also use ricotta, which is so delicious, but I don't have any ricotta, or goat's cheese as well. And then I've got hazelnuts, which I've chopped up into very fine small little pieces. And the last thing is some fresh sage. You could also use lovely fresh thyme. That would be beautiful as well, but fresh sage is growing like crazy in the garden. So I'm going to chop up that very, very finely. Sage is incredibly pungent. Oh, and by the way, keep your oven on because we're going to be putting the tart back into the oven. So don't turn it off after you've roasted the pumpkin. You can also use butternut squash, of course, as well in this. So pumpkin or butternut squash works really, really well. Now, I am adding an extra to this tart, and this is definitely optional. But because I've got so many onions at the moment, I've decided to use up the onions. So earlier on, I melted some butter, and then I finely sliced up 4 small little onions. I softened them down while they were covered, took about 10 minutes, and then I took the cover off. I added a little bit of honey or brown sugar, and then I caramelized them. It takes about 25 to 30 minutes to caramelize them like that. Now this is extra, but it definitely brings extra to the flavor too, if you know what I mean. It's so good, but if you don't have the time to do that, don't worry about it. Okay, let's get this sage really finely chopped up. The colors of this are so autumnal, and of course the flavors, sing of autumn as well. Now, here it is. So I'm going to start off with the pumpkin, the roasted pumpkin. I'm going to pop it all into the middle like this. This feeds, I would say, for lunch 4 people, or for supper it would be more like 2 people. Some feta sprinkled over it as well. That gives a lovely creaminess. So that would bring the nice creaminess to it. Sprinkle all that over, lovely. I roasted the pumpkin in just olive oil, sea salt and black pepper. You could add a little bit of rosemary into it too if you wanted that extra pungent flavour. And then next I'm going to put in these caramelized onions. Just sprinkle them all around. They will bring a beautiful extra sweetness to the tart. And if you do have onions, hanging around, they are a brilliant way to use up leftover onions. I mean, they completely transform into something so different. So I'm just going to use it all up. Oh. Okay, and then next up is a little sprinkle of the fresh sage, like that. And then the gorgeous hazelnuts. You don't need to pre-roast the hazelnuts because they will get roasted, of course, in the oven. A few more, and then they will bring that beautiful crunchiness and flavour to it. Now, this is what you want to do next. You want to just gather the sides like this, and then just fold them over to create this rough edging, which is called a galette. It is a brilliant, fast way to make a delicious tart, and I love how it looks. I think it looks so inviting and rustic and homemade. Now in here I have 1 egg just whisked with a fork with a little splash of milk in here. And I am going to brush that around all of the corners. And what that will do is that will bring a beautiful golden colour, and it will also help it crisp up and get really that lovely crunch to the crust. Oh, look at it. It's like a little basket of autumn. Now, beautiful. Okay, that goes into the oven that is already preheated. And off I go to lay the table. The tart has been roasting in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for exactly 20 minutes, and it's ready. Ooh, the smell is gorgeous. Oh, how lovely. Oh, so sweet. The sweet pumpkin enhanced by the caramelized onions, the sage, the hazelnuts, the feta. Okay, let's get this baby off the tray safely and onto the board. So I can cut up the slice, y'all. Okay, Houston, we have takeoff. How beautiful is that? Can you have a look inside? Come on. Lovely buttery pastry, all the creaminess inside, but then also the crunch of the hazelnuts on top. How good does that look? So good, isn't it? My pumpkin, feta, sage, caramelized onion and hazelnut galette.